All right. Hey, Jukka. Hey, Chris.
Hey, how you doing?
Thanks for joining me today. So,
Great.
to anyone who's on the line with us, we are live on a little Google Hangout, trying this out through Google Plus and Google Events, and we are here to talk about kind of a post-Convergence 2013 chat, talking about some of the new developments revealed at the event, some of the upcoming plans for the product, and to get some impressions from some folks who are really plugged into that kind of stuff. So we'll be talking about some of the social aspects of Convergence, some of the product announcements there. We also want to hit on update Rollup 13 for CRM 2011, which is coming up, and then something on Orion 2. And before I go too much further, let me maybe step back and introduce the folks who are on the line. So starting from the left on the lower part of the screen there, we have Chris Cognetta from TriBridge. Hey, Chris.
Hey, guys. Good morning. Or afternoon, I should say, depending on where you are in the world.
You're joining us from Florida, Plantation, Florida, right?
Yes, sir.
And Jukka Niiranen. Hey, Jukka.
Hey there.
Hey, and
good afternoon from Finland.
That's right, from Finland, and you're in Helsinki. You're just outside of Helsinki.
In the center of it, actually, now.
All right.
At my home office.
Last we talked, you were at another location, so you're moving about. So thanks for joining us too, and we will have Donna Edwards if we are lucky here. She is working toward joining us, and I really want her on, especially to discuss some of the social aspects at Convergence and some of the things that were ongoing there in terms of how people interacted, the event experience, because I know she did a lot of work on that element of things while at the event.
I'll cover for you while she's gone.
All right. Well, Chris, what were some of your impressions at the event, just on sort of a personal experience level?
Sure. Event was amazing, of course, seeing the other Microsoft MVPs, seeing the new product releases, customers, people, etc. Here she is right now, right on cue. Donna's joining. There you are, Donna. Good afternoon, Donna. We can't hear you. Okay, but anyways,
hey,
so
everyone, how you doing?
There you go.
Hey, Donna.
Hello.
So, Donna, I was just about to answer the social media experience that we had at Convergence. We had the social media command center. It was the first time in Convergence history that we were trending on Twitter. There was over 7,800 tweets happened during Convergence, 11,500 attendees. 25% was from the North America. Outside of North America, and 85 countries represented around the world. So a great experience. There was a social media command center where Donna and a bunch of us were actually sitting tweeting and all day long about new information. And I think that went off well. They had a beautiful social media wall that had about 20 screens all linked together showing everybody's tweets as they were going by. Some great videos if you missed. I actually posted them today on Twitter. So take a look at those. Some funny videos from Microsoft marketing. You know, we don't have the same budget that our competitors do for campaign there, but it's real nice to see that there's a video for Dynamics products. And then my good friend Donna here, she also went around and did some social media experience with some customers, and I'm going to let her take that from there.
I did. Hey, thanks. It's great to let everybody know about the new social experience at Convergence. I'm sure that Microsoft will probably be replicating that at their future events, so everybody keep an eye out for it. And I did do probably about 6 just kind of spontaneous videos where I walked up to people and did a little chat session with them about what they were doing at Convergence. You're going to be able to see those on my blog coming up shortly. As soon as I find some time to get to writing them.
Donna, what do you think the major changes were in how the event team tried to engage with attendees this year?
So that's a really good question, Jason. I think that there were some really huge changes this year because they actually pulled together a team of social media people, which they hadn't done in the past. So people like Chris and me and Gus Gonzalez and a whole group of people from all of the Dynamics lines from various partners were participating in social media. So we were there engaging with the people, sharing information with the people, sharing information, of course, with the virtual people as well. And it all ended up with this enhanced social sharing experience and information sharing experience that Chris mentioned.
How was the experience trying to blog and as sort of an official blogger of the event? You were kind of given Surface tablets, right? How did that work out?
Yeah, so that was great. We all received a Surface RT to do our blogging and tweeting. The blogging's a little more challenging, and I actually have some ideas around that for next year that I'm sharing with Microsoft. Blogging's a little more challenging because we're moving fast, right? So Twitter works really well for moving fast. You jot down a few things, throw a link out there, and share it with all of your followers, who then share it with all of their followers. So you get a lot of exposure. It's a little more challenging to find the time to actually write the blog articles while you're there. I managed to do a couple, with the video interviews that I did. So we'll see how that goes at the next event.
Yeah, for me, the experience was awesome because we were able to sit at the press row about three aisles back in that room of 11,500 people, front and center stage, really blogging, watching the press out there blogging and tweeting with us at the same time. It was really great to be up front and to me, it's actually like an award almost. I thought it was a great experience, and I highly recommend that if you are asked to be on the social team next year for Convergence 14, take advantage. I mean, wow, it was great to be involved with everybody there, and it was challenging to get the information out. I tried to send the information with pictures and detail from there, but I agree. There's some room for improvement, but for the first year, we did great.
I would agree. I think the event team showed the attendees and folks who were watching from online some really interesting ways to interact with the event and share their experiences at the event. I think they're just going to build on it for next year. They really did, I would agree with Donna, show a huge amount of investment and thought into what they were going to do and making it tangible.
I'm glad you mentioned that because from virtual Convergence perspective, if you didn't get a chance to go to Convergence, step out to the website there. There's a virtual Convergence link. Take a look at some of the presentations that were done. It's actually recorded with not only the PowerPoints, but the actual voice. You can actually participate as if you were there. You can get a lot of information that way.
Agreed. Well, maybe we can talk about a little specific news and information coming out of Convergence. We talked about sort of the social experience there, but I think some of the product areas that were of interest also kind of hit on social themes. One would be the acquisition of NetBreeze and some of the plans that Microsoft's putting forth there. My sense was obviously really cool technology, and they have a vision for it, but it's brand new, so it's hard to talk too many specifics about where it's going next. Although it does look like a lot of the focus is around some of the brand awareness and brand monitoring capabilities, although I know it can go a lot deeper, and I think I actually overheard in the press area some Microsoft execs saying that a lot of features of that product haven't even been touched yet in terms of what Microsoft wants to do with them with CRM.
Right. So what you're talking about here is the acquisition of NetBreeze and really the social listening and analytics platform for Microsoft Dynamics CRM. It was announced at Convergence, and it's a full social analytics integration for Microsoft CRM. It's along the lines of Microsoft buying Virtua and Aquila, as well as Salesforce.com buying Buddy Media. It's the only social analytics tool available today that can actually do the actual analyzation in the host language. So it's not translated and then or translated into a different language so that you don't lose any of the translation. So sometimes you take multiple languages, you try to bring it back to a base language, and then do your translations on that. That's what's happening with most competitors. They're huge. It's a huge competitive advantage for them to do that semantic text analysis in 28 different languages. So around the world, all the users that use Microsoft Dynamics, you're going to be able to drill into and mine into information in your native language, and it's going to find it at that. So really nice, a really nice tool. Again, I agree with you, Jay. It's going to be a while before we see the overall end results, but for what we were shown, it was a big wow. I highly recommend taking a look at that, at some of the announcements around that.
Hey guys, not to sidetrack, but just for a second, I will sidetrack. Just saw a tweet from the Premier Field Engineering Team, and UR13 has been released as we speak.
Ah, breaking news.
Breaking news.
Breaking news. That's
Hold
right.
on, let me retweet it.
Yeah, well, UR13, I did want to touch on it at least. Chris, what are you most excited about for UR13?
So the big thing I'm excited about is Server 2012 support. So Server 2012 support for CRM will really take us into the next step. We're all talking about Windows 8, right? So now you're going to see that in the server model. And if you're looking at the server model, you want to look at the Windows Blue initiatives across all of Microsoft platforms, and you'll be able to see where we're headed from a platform as an being an application. So think about a base application, and then think about our base OS core, so to speak, and then see an update. For those of you running Windows 8, you saw that update happen this week with the mail, calendar, and updates that were done and pushed down through the store. So think about that type of platform as we have on all of our mobile forms, but let's see that happening with a SharePoint or an Exchange. That's the way we're headed. So it's very excited to be involved in that. But from a UR13 perspective, we're going to gain the support for that server, as well as some additional fixes that we're missing from UR12. So we're very happy to have that, and just let my comrades here jump in and talk about different pieces.
That's right. So, Chris, you're right on. Windows Server 2012 is exactly something that I'm looking forward to seeing. And for those of you that haven't had a chance to get in there and play with it, I'm going to encourage you to do that. With that, I'm going to let Jukka jump in here because I know he's got some things he would like to share as well.
Thanks, Donna. So, yeah, of course, from practical perspective, the release of UR13 probably is going to be sort of a service pack 1 for the cross-browser compatibility. So I guess it's going to get a lot more people ready to test and deploy it in the production environment. So it's going to be a big milestone in that sense. And considering the huge differences that there were in the product between pre-12 and after that, then it's understandable that there's going to be lots of small things to take care of. But I mean, I've had a few tickets open there and been promised that it's going to be now fixed in 13. So looking forward to installing it later today on my own development box and checking it out. And of course, planning now to move to the Server 2012 as mentioned already.
Hey, Jukka, out of curiosity, what's one or two of the fixes that you were looking forward to?
One of them was the issues with the dashboards and the view filters that were to some extent a bit broken on that 12 release. So we had a few clients that had built quite many, let's say, complex dashboards that were not just like viewing the default views, but like things with the different filters. So that's going to be a big improvement for them to like regain that functionality.
Awesome.
Chris, I know you've always been a proponent of waiting one additional update roll-up before moving on, just as a safety measure, measure of caution. Would that still hold up in your view with this one, even though you're excited about Server 2012?
Sure. Again, I like to look at the roll-ups as what you need to get there. Typically, we stay one behind because we just don't know what's going to be introduced as a best practice. The best practice is to take the roll-up, put it in a dev or test environment, fully regression test your application, ensure that things are working, and then decide as a corporation to move forward. That will allow you to determine if things are going to break or you have problems with the application. We can test as many scenarios that we do in the TAP programs to ensure that things are not broken. But in the end of the result, everybody has different customizations, and you want to ensure that you have a good set. So I think that's the best practice. So I also look at, for instance, UR12 was a heavy conversation at the Ask MVP session at Convergence. And yes, UR12 brings cross-browser functionality for on-prem. And if you need that, then that's something that you're going to look at, you're going to test, and you're going to implement that. And as Kuba just said for 13, that's a great and a great update for that. So think about it as an SP1 update. So if you held off on 12, you're probably going to want to go to 13, do your regression test, and then go from there. Again, best practice is use the dev environment first. Don't try to roll these things out into production without a net, folks. I get a lot of phone calls at the help desk because of these items.
Right. And I know ADFS and ADFS, was it 2 point something?
2.1.
2.1 is now compatible. What does that mean for those of us who aren't real ADFS experts?
So Windows Server 2008, ADFS was a role that was built into the server, but you had to download ADFS 2.0 to install it. 2.0 was the latest and greatest at the time. Now with the release for UR13, you will have Windows 2012, which supports ADFS 2.1. There's some performance increases involved in that. There are some specific PowerShell scripts that you'll need to do. If you check my blog, you will see those scripts and what to do there. As far as overall testing, because it's so new, we haven't had many customers implement on 2012 server, but I do have a VM running and hope to have that information next week.
Excellent. All right. Getting back to the Convergence stuff, maybe if that's okay. Other than NetBreeze, I think the other kind of real new thing that was of interest to me and some other people was the updates for Marketing Pilot, which are coming in the Gemini release online, which is due in the next month, or even this month. I'd be interested, especially for Jukka and from Donna. Is marketing and resource management something that's crossing your clients, or at least for Jukka, that crossing your clients' minds right now? Is it something they're interested in on their radar?
Well, if you look at it from purely the resource management perspective, I'm not sure if there's that many existing customers of ours that would be willing to invest enough time to actually get the benefits of that new product. But I mean, I do have some discussions with potential customers, and I'm looking forward to introducing the capabilities of the new feature set that will be embedded into the core product. But I see that sort of as a long-term investment, and filling some of the gaps in that marketing story. I think it makes perfect sense to integrate that into Dynamics CRM, but it's not going to be for the casual marketer, that's for sure.
So, from my perspective, my clients, the majority of them want a marketing solution, and CRM, Microsoft was brilliant in understanding that CRM has this gap. It has general marketing features. You can send emails and track some campaigns, but from a marketing department perspective, it has a lot of gaps. So in the past, I had been leading with products like Click Dimensions. Whenever I would go into a client and do a CRM implementation, Chris can kind of vouch for that. I pretty much introduced Click Dimensions to TriBridge, and now that's one of their solutions that they're leading with. I know a lot of people also use Core Motives and some of the other marketing solutions that have been out there for a while to kind of fill that marketing gap when they're implementing CRM at client sites where there's a concerted marketing effort. So where I see Marketing Pilot playing a role with CRM is at the enterprise level. So although Click Dimensions and Core Motives and the other marketing solutions that are currently available in the marketplace today definitely fill a marketing gap, I think Marketing Pilot probably takes that to the next level. So you're going to see a lot of enterprise type clients wanting to learn more about Marketing Pilot, and I actually saw that at Convergence. I was working at the Solution Center booth right across from Marketing Pilot, and so I got to have some exposure into what they're offering, and Marketing Pilot understands that they are an enterprise solution. So the nice thing is we've got a full story to tell now, right? for the small to mid-sized business customer, we have marketing solutions available to them. And for the enterprise customer, or even the mid-sized customer that wants an enterprise solution, we now can offer a marketing pilot. So I think Microsoft has come full circle with their marketing story.
Yeah, Jason, I think one of the common questions were, hey, what's the difference between Click Dimensions and those type of ISVs and Marketing Pilot? And what I can tell you, the big thing that struck home with me was the end-to-end management of a marketing agency. So if you think about that, we're not just talking about campaign management. We're talking about, hey, there's a budget involved in this. I have resources that are assigned certain tasks. I have to roll out groups to go to Convergence and set up my booth. I have to look at my communications. I need a network guy there. All the tasks, all the budgeting, the planning, the resources, instant workflows back and forth. It's the full gamut there, right? End to end for agency. That's the big thing that stood out to me.
Yeah, I saw a presentation by a Marketing Pilot product manager, and they use the acronym ROMI, Return on Marketing Investment, as this more granular level of what am I budgeting, what am I getting back out of it, that the CMO is going to want to see that the CFO maybe doesn't care about on a day-to-day basis. And I'd absolutely agree with what both of you said from what I heard. A couple other things that I would add in talking to some of the analysts at the event, they seemed to like the move. They thought it made a lot of sense. They have a lot of respect for Marketing Pilot in the integrated marketing management, marketing resource management space. Against just a couple of real competitors, Aprimo being the biggest, I believe, from Teradata, if I'm getting that right. I might have the name mistaken, but they see it as one of the main players in that field. It's still, as you both said, for the larger enterprises, and I think one of the main disqualifiers for some of the smaller ones is simply the size of the marketing department, how many people they can dedicate to really using a system like this, because it is a huge product with a ton of functional areas that need to be overseen if you're really going to get everything out of it. Some of the questions that I heard asked of the Marketing Pilot reps that were made available to the press and to analysts were around these questions of, is this a managed service, or is this something that a department's going to have to own themselves? Is there any another question was whether they would ever consider breaking this up into component pieces and making it more accessible to folks who can't take on the full suite. I didn't see any indication that was the case. It was just a question that was certainly raised, and I think for the time being, it doesn't appear that breaking it down into some of the marketing execution and the campaign management features without everything else is part of the roadmap, and Microsoft certainly wasn't talking about that. So the other benefit I heard that analysts seem to like who've been following Marketing Pilot specifically was the improvement in the UI that they're going to get now for being bought by Microsoft and now seeing a Windows 8 style user interface, because apparently, and I didn't really see much of this, but
I'm actually showing it right now. If you take a look, that's the new interface that everybody's talking about, and this did lead to a lot of questions on where we're headed. So Marketing Pilot did do a beautiful job at updating the interface. And this is the new interface for CRM, guys. So we're going to talk about that a little bit for Orion. But as you see here, it's quite beautiful, and you can see how the information is gathered. For those of you who are going, oh my God, what happened to my ribbon customizations? Don't worry about that. The ribbon customizations will still be supported, and the same work that we did use and learn will be used to extend this new command bar. And we can talk about more when we get into Orion. But that was one of the big conversations, is the facelift, and how does that play into CRM?
Yeah, I think Marketing Pilot sorely needed it, from what I've heard. I hadn't seen a lot of their UI before, but it was considered one of the ugliest around, even though the functionality was pretty good. So I think Microsoft's bringing them up on that, and they're pushing them to integrate with CRM, which is something that they had done. But they certainly weren't as dedicated to it as before they were folded into the Microsoft Dynamics marketing, realm. So now they have put they've started putting quite a bit of work into that, and I think they're going to even push that a little further over time.
Yep, definitely. You'll definitely be seeing more from Marketing Pilot.
Yeah.
Sure.
The other question the analysts raised was how important is this really? Is it overhyped or not as a need? And I think I know it was also something that with Bob Stutz taking the helm in our R&D for Dynamics CRM, this was part of his vision was growing the product capabilities and the vision of where it's going, and marketing resource management and integrated marketing management is certainly a piece of that, and what led the team to pick Marketing Pilot. So don't expect it to go away. It's certainly going to evolve. It should be very interesting to see where it goes.
Right, and for those of you, we didn't talk about the connector, but there is a connector from Marketing Pilot from online into CRM 2011. So you'll be able to use that connector to get your information back and forth into CRM. So there is that's already available, and we're looking at I think it's April timeframe. You'll be able to download and purchase that stuff.
That's right. All right. Well, why don't we move on to some Orion topics? Since Chris, you had a nice segue there.
Sure.
Part of the update to Marketing Pilot is the UI change, and the UI changes that are coming everywhere else are going to be substantial too in the Orion timeframe. Jukka, maybe I could let you say a few things about your impressions of Orion, and I'm going to post a link if I can here to a recent article you wrote that has really gotten a lot of attention, I think, from I would say mostly CRM professionals, developers, and consultants who are also thinking about this stuff. But maybe you can kind of give an overview of your views just to maybe start things out here.
Sure. So actually, for me, the biggest announcement in Convergence wasn't really NetBreeze. Surprisingly, I mean, initially I thought that that's going to be when they announced it at the keynote, being a big social heavy user myself for social media. So, so I wasn't really expecting to see that much of the new Orion UI that actually they then ended up showing there in their roadmap sessions, and also the session for the user experience by the UX manager Michael McCormack. And based on those excellent two sessions, I did a bit of took some screenshots and tried to get my head around okay, what's going to be changing now here. So of course, the initial reactions when you see that screenshots there, it's going to be, we don't have the ribbons there, but that was something we kind of knew already. I mean, we've seen that being faded to the background already in the Polaris release for CRM Online. So that wasn't a surprise, but really the new thing is going to be the single window paradigm there. So when Bob Stutz had been talking about reducing the number of pop-ups, I mean, they did a nice job already with streamlining the lead to opportunity process there in the Polaris release, but that was kind of just the start of the whole new UI. So what we really saw in the Convergence sessions was that we're going to go from tens of windows to just one window for Dynamics CRM. And having worked with the product since version 3, having gotten used to being needed to close down windows after 1 hour of working with CRM, I mean, it's become a routine for me and probably many of the users already. But whenever you introduce new users for the CRM system for the first time, then that's been one of the first topics that I had to cover, the logic. Okay, we have the one main window there, and then each record opens up in their own window. But I'm really glad that I can now skip that in the future when Orion is going to be arriving, because looks to me that it's now going to look just like a regular web application or web page, and that's a huge improvement in the sort of barrier or the trading requirements for the new UI. So you don't really have to learn how to use Dynamics CRM anymore. You just use it like any other application, like web pages or SharePoint even, or other apps that have been sort of single window from the start. So that's going to be a huge improvement and the biggest change from my perspective for the new release.
Sure, and just adding on top of that, so for those of you who have not seen the new UI in Polaris, this is the Polaris UI that I'm showing right now. The big thing is when you talk to a sales users do not want to know about where a lead is, where a contact is, where an account. I have to be on this entity, that entity, back and forth. For them, it was very challenging. The Polaris UI is truly a breakthrough with the process flow UI. Nobody has it. It's not repeatable as far as the technologies that are available for us to do it. It's very extendable from a salesperson's a sales manager who can add and change these points along the process flow by themselves without needing a developer. The information that you need flows at your tips. So what you see here in the Orion timeframe is the extension of the COLA, which was the accounts, contacts, leads, opportunities, and cases that was available for Polaris online, now being brought on-prem with all custom entities, etc., and the ability to extend that. So this is going to be a huge, huge win for Microsoft and for especially our integration partners like ourselves, where we're able to obtain people into that one screen. Do your job. I mean, really, the thing that struck home to me, it's not about the product anymore. It really shouldn't have been about the product, right? It should have been about what is the sales and business process, how are we going to make that work, and let the tools seamlessly work behind the scenes. Quoting Bob, he said, mobility is a dead word. And I started looking at mobility, and just wanted to go real quick here. We want to build applications that you love. Simple, usable, modern, fast, and loved. And I really stuck with the loved, right? How many people have an application that they actually love to use versus struggling with user adoption? And that when this was shown to salespeople out on the floor, along with companies like Revlon and Weight Watchers, they're using the prototypes in production right now on Surface and showing the Windows 8 app. It was just totally amazing. But the word mobility, basically, people don't like that word anymore. So what they're calling it now is ambiguous, which is seamless experience across sales, service, marketing, customer, process, regardless of the choice of device, browser, or location. And that's a direct quote from Bob Stutz, Microsoft Corporate VP CRM. And that was the biggest thing that I took home from the new screens and what they're trying to send as the message. So great time to be in CRM.
Yeah, no question. I think the new vision certainly resonates. I know. Again, I can kind of give a little bit of reaction I got from some of the analysts at the event. They certainly like the change of direction, that there's a vision there. They all really respect Bob Stutz. I know from his past work and his stature in the CRM industry and what he's accomplished before. I think the other thing to keep in mind is, what we're looking at is vision and plans, and some of them are pretty well formed. Other things, are still quite a ways off. What I heard, I think, at a session run by Jujhar Singh was a 6 to 7 month range, he thought, for the Orion release. And I think, Chris, from one of the slides you actually had there, Microsoft's not putting a hard date yet on when they're going to be delivering this online or on premise, and sort of what the final release name is going to be. I mean, all that stuff is still quite a ways out now.
Yeah, there's your slide right there. You can see that we have the Gemini, which is the marketing pilot release at the end of March there, beginning of April. And then you can see they've pushed everything out for the second half as far as showing it on the screen, but not necessarily providing a date. And I think that's also from some of the feedback from the MVP channel as well, is that, we want to make sure these things are tested. We can go through, look at what's available, how it's going to integrate. The product team is working very hard to deliver items, and we want to deliver quality. And we want to make sure that we don't let a date reduce quality.
Chris, just as a note, a technical note here, I think when you show on your screen, it may not be broadcasting your screen there. I see it in our Hangout, but when I look on the other monitor...
How about now? You see that now?
Let's see. I do see it now, yeah.
Okay, it looks like I have to click on it to show. So
got it. Okay. So there it is. And I'm just going to make sure that stays up there while I chatter here. So that's the sort of the timeline that Chris was referencing there.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the other, and Jukka, I'd like your view on this, but one of the other kind of complexities of being open and sort of sharing a vision and sharing, a lot of details for something that's quite a long way off, is it creates nervousness, uncertainty, especially for veteran folks who are supporting existing customers, who have to now immediately start thinking, well, what am I going to do with this? What am I going to do with upgrading people? What am I going to do with existing customizations? Things that really either can't be answered yet, haven't been answered yet. just due to the sort of the time frame and what's going to come next. Jukka, what are some of the responses that you've been kind of interacting with on your blog from some of your readers in terms of what they think of the new approach?
Yeah, I think it's pretty obvious from the comments that there's lots of people who have been working on their external applications for quite some time. I mean, throughout many different versions of Dynamics CRM, and of course, from their perspective, it might seem like, okay, another run of changes, and I've just gotten used to the ribbons and the new, say, form designs, and do I now have to redo everything again? So that's it's quite a different, let's say, audience than the actual end users of the application. And the way I see it, anything that can be done for like reducing the sort of like initial barrier for using Dynamics CRM, that's going to be for the benefit of those people building extra applications, also due to the fact that they can then have a large audience for their apps. So I mean, people like us, I mean, we need to get used to the constant change there and prepare ourselves for the new designs, so not to like commit to a certain type of form for the next 10 years. That's not reality anymore, because there's going to be a new rapid release cadence, and changes are going to be coming a lot faster than the 3 years that we previously had there between versions. So, but also then probably the painful thing about the announcements for them is that okay, we have information, or let's say a statement that everything's going to migrate and there's going to be ways to do the same things that you can do right now, but there's not the SDK yet, of course, because we're so early on in the sort of announcement plans of the new version. So, and one thing to keep in mind also is that we probably haven't seen half of the new product features yet. Mm-hmm. So it's just a UI concept, and that will give you an idea of like what to prepare for. I mean, you shouldn't rely on components that you know are not going to be present there in the same kind of format in the new version. And one thing that was mentioned in the user experience session was that even though things probably, or most of the stuff in the current version 2011 can be upgraded to the Orion UI, but it's not necessarily going to be pretty if you don't do something about that. And that's one thing I've also seen in many of the sort of technical upgrades done from version 4 to 2011. I mean, people really haven't like invested time enough on like modifying the forms to fit the new UI of 2011. So it's going to be, well, I mean, same thing all over again. If you don't have a budget for like tweaking the usability, making it easy for the users, and leveraging the new functionality, navigations, then of course there are going to be problems for you. I mean, it's then it's just a headache of the upgrade, but I think that's the wrong way to look at it.
Yeah, I would also second that in saying that with the cloud and how we're moving forward today, evolution is much faster. You know, we're looking at Moore's Law and some of that stuff, but the cloud is forcing us to be very fast deployments, get functionality out fast to keep it new, solve challenges, etc. Again, read about the Windows Blue initiatives. They talk about how Microsoft strategizes on how these deployments are going to happen. And we're not just talking about CRM. We're talking about all platforms and the rollout schedule and keeping up with that. So I think you'll see that, and in some of the tools on how they're taking the need to do customization, integration work, and building that into the platform, like the mobile platforms, and how to shrink that time frame so that it doesn't take us having to build code to make it happen. The platform's going to support it out of the box.
Yeah. One big area, Jukka, that you noted that maybe hasn't been addressed is the what you wrote wasn't there one more client type that Dynamics CRM supported? Ah, yes, the Outlook client. I thought that was kind of funny, but also true. It sounds like that's a whole realm of this of the future that's still kind of to be determined publicly. And I mean, just how important is the Outlook client when it comes to your? Well, I could throw this to all of you when it comes to what your clients need and expect from CRM.
So the Outlook client is key. I mean, every deployment that we go into, we deploy the CRM Outlook client.
Yeah.
And the good news is I think there's some really good stuff coming with respect to that. And although there have been no official announcements or product guidelines to kind of help us get a sense of what's coming. I think if you look at what Microsoft shared during Convergence about their mobility plan, you'll start to get a sense of that. You know, what I like to refer to as device agnostic.
Ambiguous.
Well, so yeah, they said something like that.
Ubiquitous?
That's ubiquitous. That's it.
It was ubiquitous.
Don't worry, he couldn't say it either.
I like to refer to it as device agnostic, right? So I think we're going to see some of that similar type of theory applied to the CRM Outlook client. So it'll be interesting to see where that goes. And I get the sense that Microsoft's going to do some really interesting things there and some good things. I think, Jason, one of the couple of the key things that I really took away from Convergence was a theme that Chris mentioned. One was to love this application, right? I heard it from 3 or 4 different people during various sessions. Kirill spoke to it, Bob Stutz spoke to it, Michael, who is the program director for, I might not have gotten his title just quite right, but he handles the UX piece of CRM. He spoke to it several times. And I get a lot of confidence, and I feel really good about this whole theme of let's help people love the applications that they're working with. So just from that perspective, and getting this flat design now where we're not popping windows and causing people to, you know, save records and try to figure out where they are, but we're giving them the display of what they want to see on one screen. I'm really excited about the things to come. And with respect to the upgrade, you know, the CRM 3 to CRM 4 upgrade was challenging. There was definitely some pain there. The upgrade process from 4 to 2011, I think probably everybody here would agree, was exponentially better. Just huge improvements as far as the time it took to upgrade, the things you had to do to upgrade, and I would expect the same from CRM 2011 to Orion and Delta Path. I really believe Microsoft's just going to get better and better at this.
Yeah, there was also some platform announcements as a part of the December 2012 release for CRM Online. They will now allow a preview in production. So what's going to happen is you're not going to be forced to have that update right away. You're going to be able to see that preview, take a look at it, maybe on your test platform, determine if you want to release it. So that's one major announcement. As you can tell, my partner there, Donna, is the Outlook client queen, and we love to affectionately call her that, so I'm going to say that every time I can. You know, we definitely we use the Outlook client a lot, and really it's from a usability perspective, being in that email tool, which most of us use, we're in and out of all day long, that's what's really going to give you that usability and adoption for users, and you're going to see that across all devices, so pretty excited to do that.
How useful has that preview tool been for online?
Well, we don't have it yet. This is very similar to when we went from CRM 4 Online to CRM 2011, where they gave you the ability to actually schedule the ability to upgrade and postpone it over a year. We don't have any details on what's going to happen, how that's actually going to show you a preview of how it looks so you could roll back and test. But it was announced in the cloud conversation with Ben, which was CRM Too Cloudy or something like that. It was a great session on your data in CRM Online. It also talked about that there's 5 copies of your data available for CRM Online. So if you have a data center like in the U.S., you have a Northeast and West Coast data centers, your data is first copied locally in the Northeast data center. Then it's replicated over through async process to the West data center. So you have 4 copies, 2 and 2. And then on top of that, they do a backup. So a lot of information on CRM Online. Site security, as far as there's 4 different types of authentication methods to get access to a data center. You know, physical security access, a guard there, your actual user swipe and passcode. When you're there, you have clearance, and then you're also under full surveillance. So a lot of good information on CRM Online, and we could probably spend an hour talking about what he talked about there as far as how they've increased performance, how they've reduced their PUI footprint, which is how much energy it costs to be more efficient, the different levels of the data center. It was really amazing. If you didn't get a chance, check out Virtual Convergence and see Ben's session. You'll truly enjoy it.
One of the related areas I kind of keep watching and I'm interested in, it sounds like Microsoft's making a little progress, but maybe not full progress yet, is on beyond sort of previews, helping people support a development and a test environment, so that they can push out, let's say, XRM customizations to online, or when a major release change like the Orion release comes along, that they have even more control. Does anyone have any perspective on how far that's come and where it needs to get to for deployment purposes?
In general, from you're talking about from going from CRM 2011 to Orion. Where are you going?
Yeah, I'm talking about just deploying changes, deploying customizations to CRM online, utilizing some sort of an online dev or test stack to do it. I know people use different approaches now to kind of support rolling out customizations.
Yeah, so Microsoft has done some good things there, right? They've offered this. The ability to actually have duplicate online organizations of your primary organization, and there's a flat fee for that, and it's kind of at the enterprise level now. But so if you're a client, you're not an enterprise client, and you can't afford, let's say, that enterprise license to be able to clone your organizations. You can always use a method that several of the MVPs use, and probably even Jukka uses as well, which is we just go out and get a 30-day trial, and we export our solution and we pop it into that 30-day trial. We do some work, test it out, and if everything works, we move it back. Or we go ahead and subscribe just one user to that environment and test our changes, or a few users. We might have a development environment like that, and then a QA test environment where the testers can test it, and then we'll move it to production. So really, this online experience has always offered us that opportunity to have multiple environments at an affordable price and be able to handle that application lifecycle management. And just to throw something out there for people that aren't aware of it, Shan MacArthur from ADX Studios has done an amazing job with a tool that he's put out and made available, and it is called the ALM Toolkit. So anybody that has a desire to learn more about application lifecycle management, actually wants a toolkit to help them manage that, I would definitely recommend going over to his website and getting their hands on that and try that out, because it's an amazing productivity boost, and
yeah, absolutely.
Has the ability to really manage that source code in a way that gives you really best practices from a release management perspective.
Yeah, what it does is it allows you to use your TFS or your source control system to build your environments from that versus trying to build from NCRM and moving the solutions back and forth. And the ALM scripts allow you to take the code and deploy it across the different environments. So if you have multiple developers, you can build out those environments right from your source control so that you always know that they're at the current release and they're current. And then you can deploy that across multiple environments. So yeah, ALM Toolkit, available on adxstudios.com. You can /ALM Toolkit. They have different licenses. You can try it out. Again, Shannon, ADX Studio, not a plug for ADX Studio, of course. Just being an ISV, he's able to see the different things we're dealing. We might be dealing with a release from, we're rolling out a new business process, for example. In his case, he's not only rolling out business processes, but he's supporting different versions of code for different releases across multiple customers with multiple features. So you could think about all the different peaks and valleys that are in that from a source control management. So he's really, really strong on that. And by the way, he wrote a great chapter in the CRM Field Guide book, which is the book written by MVPs, Chapter 20, Chapter 21, on solutions. If you're struggling with solutions, I highly recommend that you guys read that book and take a look at that piece.
All right, excellent. Anything else anyone wanted to add on Orion? Other interesting elements of what you've seen so far?
Yeah, I actually have. Go ahead, Goob.
Yeah, just going to comment on the sort of online story. So I think that what I'm seeing is that these, let's say, features are getting better at a rate that kind of meets with the demand of the customers. So right now, it's at least in our market, so the online offering has been most lucrative for the small and medium-sized businesses, and for them, the kind of needs for full replication of their production instances to another online organization hasn't been that crucial. That would have stopped them from like grabbing the opportunity there. And looking at the announcements from Convergence, I think that's I'm pretty confident that by the time Orion hits the market, we can have a much better feature set there to support also the bigger online customers. And we have to also keep in mind that there's already, even at the moment, there's a big share of customers that are still on the old CTP platform versus the new Office 365 platform. So there's lots of migration work still to be done for getting the customers to like be able to benefit from the latest announcements. So it's getting better, and I'm a firm believer of the cloud stories. So I don't see that as a major issue. But of course, with Polaris, one critical thing was that now when there's some discrepancy between the different environments, so that kind of introduced some further barriers for the kind of using 30-day trials for testing stuff. So whether that's going to be the model going forward, I mean, post Orion when we get to the next release, and probably it's going to be online first, even at that stage. So whether Microsoft can actually introduce a model that allows us to maintain the kind of compatibility of features on a clear enough level by that time frame, that's going to be a key point to watch out.
If I had to make a prediction, I would say that Microsoft will give at least partners a way to have sort of perpetually running demo environments or perpetually running, sandboxes that they can kind of continuously use for CRM Online to work with prospects, or in the early stages of engagements. Because in talking to other partners, the 30-day is just not working for them, or it's getting to a scale where they can't, they're creating so many of them that it's almost a little overdone.
They're definitely aware of that. So hey, how about we get everybody's juices flowing and do a quick little Orion Windows 8 here on the fly demo if you guys want to take a look at this.
Yeah.
So here's my Windows 8 desktop. You want to check the feed to see if you can see that?
Let me check it here.
So while you're doing that,
Jason,
I just want to say that we're going to hold you to that prediction, and we'll look forward to that article from you.
Absolutely.
Regarding how that plays out.
All right.
Yeah. So here you have a Windows 8 desktop running on my Surface, and I'm going to launch the Orion's app here. And as if I'm a salesperson, you can see I've got some things I'm going to work, so I can scroll back and forth to see my schedule and contacts. And I got an appointment with John, so I'm going to take a look at John by clicking into John. I can see all John's information. I can make a call. I can tweet from here. I can see from the portfolio of different opportunities and things that I'm working on. I can see checklists of items that I need to possibly change or ask in a question. I can see all the interactions that I have with the customer as far as when's the last time I spoke to him. So think of a salesperson looking at this on site in their pilot, being able to right there get the information at their fingertips. A little life event chart that talks about what's happening over the lifeline of what's happening. But let's say that I'm talking to John, and John says, hey, I want to talk to you about that automobile quote. So I can actually open up the quote for the vehicle insurance. I can definitely see the information in here. I can do different items of what's happening. I can change his birth date. So that was wrong. We need to update that. I can see his rankings, whether I pulled this information in from a web service call or whether I added it in my back end, it will be available to me. I can actually provide check out a quote to our back end systems right online, match against different providers, show that information as far as what's available, and then say, hey, John, I know you don't like Motor General, but looks like Contuso is the best one you want to go to, so I can jump on there and I can actually see my quote and then sign it with like a DocuSign or AccuSign or CureSign ISV. So this is the future of where we're headed for a sales environment when it comes to the Orion platform. This is also referred to as MoCA, which is the mobile client access. So I hope you guys enjoyed that little sneak preview there.
Yeah, thanks for sharing.
Very cool.
Really cool. That's like the Windows 8 tablet experience for sales, right?
That's correct.
Excellent.
Yep.
I think that might be a great way to end this. We're about 60 minutes in here. Anyone have any sort of final words? No. I want to thank you guys all for attending. This was a lot of fun. A fun first use of the Google Hangout for us. And I hope we get a chance to meet up again and chat down the line on this kind of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Jason, for having us. Great panelist as well. Enjoy working with my fellow colleagues and getting the information out. I think this is a great way to share and talk about upcoming releases and stuff. And all of us have blogs and tweets, so please take a moment, check us out, and thank you for your time today.
Yeah, thanks. So we'll end the broadcast here. This was recorded. It should come up on YouTube fairly soon. It might take a little bit of work to get it just in the right place, but yeah, thanks for attending. I'm gonna end the broadcast now. I think, guys, it will keep you on the Hangout though, so we can kind of shut things down smoothly. So, goodbye to everyone watching.
Thank